Does Nigel Farage deserve an apology from the minister who says he is on the side of people like Jimmy Savile? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. The Science Secretary, Peter Carole, was discussing the government's online safety bill on Sky News yesterday. The bill was passed in 2023, but only came into force on Friday. And it's designed, amongst other things, to prevent children from seeing harmful content online. So, sites showing adult material now need to make visitors from the UK prove that they are over 18. Farage has pledged to repeal the bill. He calls it dystopian, says it also suppresses freedom of speech and forces social media companies to censor anti-government speech. Let's hear Peter Carle's comments.
You know, we have people out there who are extreme pornographers, peddling hate, peddling violence. Nigel Farage is on their side. Make no mistake about it, if people like Jimmy Savile were alive today, he'll be perpetrating his crimes online. And Nigel Farage is saying that he's on their side. Nigel Farage is on the side of turning the clock back to the time when strange adults, strangers, can get in touch via messaging apps with children.
And this was Farage's response.
Just how low can a Labour government sink in its desperation to say that I would do anything that would in any way aid and abet people like Jimmy Savile is frankly it's so below the belt, it's almost not true.
He says he's asked Peter Carle for an apology, but Kyle won't back down. The point there, Carole, is that we are trying to protect our kids from all of these things, and not just our kids. The online safety bill places the responsibility with the tech giants who are making so much money from advertising, using our attention, our eyeballs to make their business. Why shouldn't they take responsibility?
Now, let me first of all answer the question of whether he should have said what he said about Farage. That was an obnoxious, unevidenced slander, and I hope Farage sues him to hell and back for it, because you might not like Farage, you might not like his politics, but to align him with the likes of Jimmy Savile is vile, it's obnoxious, it's suggesting that he would encourage, that he doesn't care about the abuse of children. Of course he cares about it, and to slur him in this way, this shows to me, this is Starmer's attack dog, because Farage lives so deeply now inside Starmer's psyche that he will do anything to destroy him. And this is the lowest of the low, to accuse someone of that. And Starmer seems to have forgotten that the hypocrisy over this. He seems to have forgotten that when he was DPP and running the CPS, the Crown Prosecution Service, and Boris Johnson invoked the name of Savile, in regards to Starmer, he said that he wanted to know why, during Starmer's time in charge of the CPS, why Savile hadn't been prosecuted. And at the time, Starmer likened Boris. He said he was in the company of fascists, and he accused him of scoring cheap political points.
Well, that was a cheap political point, though, because he wasn't the lawyer reviewing Savile's case, and he ordered a review.
I'm sorry, he was in charge. You get paid.
No,
you get
and
paid,
he ordered a review as soon as he knew about it to make sure they understood the failings to prosecute Savile at the time.
Starmer denied knowing
because he didn't know anything about it.
Please, he was in charge. It is almost inconceivable that he didn't know about Savile. But what Boris said was based in fact, because there are legitimate questions to be asked as to why Savile wasn't prosecuted by the CPS. What he has said
Keir Starmer asked those by ordering a review.
What he has said about Farage is
so Starmer hasn't said it, Kyle said it.
Do you think Kyle said it without the knowledge
or the approval
focus
on Kyle because he's the one that should be making the apology, not Keir Starmer.
That's not true, because Number 10 have said, we stand by Peter. So they're obviously not terribly worried about what he said. They agree that Starmer was the man who said, let's clean up politics, let's take the poison out of it. His people are putting the poison in politics by trying to destroy a man with the most obnoxious slur.
Why make that link, Marvyn? Why make the link between Nigel Farage and Reform and Jimmy Savile? Because that feels like a dog whistle. That feels like you're.
it does.
It does feel like you don't have to say that. You can say, let's protect our kids from this. Why not stick to the policy rather than going personality-based?
Because I think it's really important to understand where the danger is, and you need to put different contexts for different types of people to understand. The actual analogy isn't particularly personal to Farage specifically.
Oh, please.
What it actually is about showing the relationship between what culture we are creating and not keeping young people safe, and we are not doing that by challenging this bill. Being the opposition, as Farage is in, isn't just about finding the Labour position and just saying the actual opposite and saying everything is bad, wrong, stupid, right? When good things are happening, your job is to add and to put your view into it. But the online bill is a safety bill, is something that's been campaigned for literally as long as I've been an adult, and it's an incredible, important piece of legislation. Where we are now, though, where we're now getting to this conversation of should he apologise, it's absolutely absurd. Nigel Farage is the #1 proponent of saying woke messages are bad, being nice and careful and mindful is bad, and demanding equality is bad. All these things are bad, but when it happens to you, you now are demanding an apology.
So Farage's argument...
If someone aligned you to a paedophile?
Ultimately...
How would you feel?
Ultimately, it would be impossible to do so because there will be no threads between my character and
there's no threads between his.
Ever. Well, clearly there is, because he's advocating unsafe environment for young people.
What I don't understand, Carole, is what's to gain here. It's an argument about free speech, about what we do online not being
But now he's
policed.
controlling his speech.
If we are protecting our kids from... And let's just go through what the online safety bill actually protects all of us from. So child sexual abuse, controlling coercive behaviour, extreme sexual violence, extreme pornography, fraud, racially aggravated public order offence, inciting violence. Why is it not right for people to have to take responsibility for us seeing this stuff?
The intentions of this act are very good. Of course they are. No one doesn't
I
want...
haven't heard it from the other side, but it's important to know
Can
that.
I just finish this? No one wants to see children exposed to harmful material. However, if anyone believes this act is going to stop our tech-savvy kids getting onto sites that they want to, they're living in cloud cuckoo.
That's just a lazy response. You can't say
no,
lazy things.
Marvyn,
When
you
good
talk
things are
through my
happening-
comments, so please
when good things are
don't
happening,
talk through mine,
you
because
have
I'm going to
support
keep
the
on
good things
talking,
happening.
because this is not fair.
Okay, this doesn't help anybody.
Carole,
Let's let Carole
Yes,
finish her
that's
point.
Finished already. She had two very long responses.
I have not finished
I would
already.
like to speak.
Sorry?
Continue, please.
So I can't talk through yours, but you can talk through me. Okay. So what I wanted, I've even lost my blooming thread now, because this happens every single time. Okay, I know what I want to say. So when this act was being debated in 2022, Kemi Badenoch expressed very serious concerns about overreaches by government, which is exactly what happened this weekend when the government used this act to stop social media showing images of the immigration protests.
I went
in
online
Yorkshire.
this morning and I searched for immigrant protests and
sorry, they
migrant
used
protests. I saw them
whatever you saw.
everywhere.
Whatever
It hasn't got
I
in
don't
the way.
care.
I want
It
to
did
come
at the
back
weekend.
to. I want to come back
but
to you,
let me just
Marvyn.
finish this by saying Kemi Badenoch.
Carole, you've had a good crack.
Kemi Badenoch at the
I'm going to
time
come back to you, Marvyn, but I'm going to take some calls first. Mary's in Hampshire. Mary, what do you think? Does Farage deserve an apology?
No, he does not. And the government, and I've been a social worker for many years, have been fighting for children to be protected. The more protection we can give children, the better. I'm not saying that Farage would harm children, but he's certainly not going the way to prevent them having harm.
Why was it necessary for Kyle to mention Jimmy Savile in the same sentence as Nigel Farage? What does that achieve, Mary?
It achieves everyone to think about it, because in fact, the truth is, if Jimmy Savile was still around, he would be assessing children by internet. And I've worked with many young women who've been groomed, is the word I would say, by internet, where they feel they have friends, where the more we can stop that happening, I'm not saying we're going to stop it completely, but the more we can stop that happening, the better it will be for everyone.
Okay. Mary, what is the risk that you see to the young people that you deal with? Where is the threat coming from online? And why do you feel that this bill is so important?
The threat online is certainly where children who have not got many friends are befriended by people, and they're misidentified. And I have a young person who went missing. She was 13 years old. She went missing. She felt she was in love with this man. She met the man. He was about 20, and he was about 20, and he was groomed her, and then they had sex. So he groomed her through online. And there's many, many people like that, many stories like that. And that's just a recent one.
Okay.
And it breaks my heart.
Okay, Mary, thanks so much for your call and thanks for everything you're doing to protect those people. Christine's in Cambridgeshire. Christine, does Nigel Farage deserve an apology from Peter Kyle?
He certainly does. And more than that, this Peter Kyle should be sacked, and he should not be representing this country as a minister in this actual land. I think it's disgraceful how he's spoken of Nigel Farage. And it's just desperation. Everybody in the Labour government are so desperate to keep Nigel Farage out of the picture. I mean, it's pathetic, and we can see it. We can all
Christine,
see it.
both the Tory party and the Labour Party were behind this act. It's taken years to get it to where it is, to make it right. And if Peter Kyle feels strongly enough about protecting our kids from people like Jimmy Savile, why shouldn't he just say that?
Why? It's as simple as this. You have to separate the two. You cannot include Nigel Farage in whatever he's doing. I agree with what they're doing. I think it's an excellent idea because, I've got grandchildren, so I like to think that they're being protected.
But Christine, Nigel Farage is going to repeal the act. So that protection won't be there. The responsibility on tech platforms will not be there.
He'll put plenty of other protection in. He'll have other ways of dealing with it.
He hasn't committed to such.
Yes, I think I agree with Nigel Farage on the fact that these ways that the government are dealing with it, they are just to quieten anybody down who has a different view to the government at the moment. It's so obvious, and they think we don't understand.
Okay.
It shines out. They're scared to death of Nigel Farage, and also they're absolutely going to try and keep everybody down from not saying anything against them. They're so scared.
Thank you, Christine. I just want to make sure I bring Marvyn back in here. Marvyn, Nigel Farage says he's going to repeal this act, and Christine is convinced. She trusts him enough to be able to police this without the bill. Why do you have faith in the bill and not in Nigel Farage?
No, look, we've come from a history where this hasn't been done. Young people haven't been safeguarded. And if you listen to people of anyone that was born from 80s and down, there's stories of access that people had to them and the unsafe environment they were in. But then again, you start to speak to people that were born 90s and onwards, they've all got stories and experiences of somebody speaking to them online, trying to get them into a place, trying to manipulate, coerce them and abuse them. And it's really important that the government finally have done something about it. Let's just say it's step one. It's a good, strong first step. There's probably more work to do. And now all the platforms and the companies, the data providers, everybody is now awoken to this issue. Rather than contribute as to how we mold and shape what's happening, it's just this anti-energy. And then when you get conflated with being on the side of abusers, you now want apologies and you're now crying on the media. It's absolutely embarrassing to have someone like him who has been involved in so much social erosion to then say that he now demands an apology. He is the actual thing.
This is astonishing. What you're basically saying is it's legitimate to slur someone and align them with paedophiles because they don't agree with what you think or what you're doing.
That's not what happened either.
Well, that's what you're
really
doing.
Weak.
And it's clear how...
Carole, isn't that freedom of speech?
Right? Yes,
isn't that what we're talking about here? Isn't this that we're saying that the internet can be like this?
Freedom
Anybody
of speech
can say anything.
does not entitle you to align someone with a paedophile. It does not.
He is against the bill, which is to protect people.
Okay.
So it's a fair conflation.
We have to leave it there. Don't forget, later on, we're going to debate whether it's everybody's duty to...